happy you're here. I'm Brian. I make videos to raise your vibe so you feel alive. I also just added that plant, so I hope you feel that too. So the other day, my daughter came over to spend the night and she was like, hey dad, can I put on some music? And I was like, of course, put it on. So she put it on and it was super chill music. And I was just kind of like, oh. So I was like, what is that? And she's like, oh look, it's called relaxing music for dogs. And I was like, oh. And then I saw this, check this out. First of all, cute dog, right? Who wouldn't want that dog? And then secondly, I was looking, I was like, oh my God, 11 million views. That is a lot of relaxed dogs. It makes me think like every time I'm walking by the fence and all those dogs start, right? I'm just like, dude, chill out and go listen to some relaxing dog music. So, how does relaxing dog music play into today's video? Well, it's something I had never heard of. So it was a daily discovery. And I found that the more daily discoveries I had, aka putting time aside to have a daily discovery, totally raises my vibe. I'll give you another example. So I recently signed up for this 21-day manifestation course. Special shout out to Vita and Rebecca. They're in the course. They're awesome people. Check them out. Anyways, in this course on the Facebook forum, they've been talking about crystals, and I don't know that much about crystals. So I turned to my daughter who was over for the day and I was like, let's look up crystals. Let's make this our daily discovery for today. So then we came across this guy, Ryan Yokami, who started talking about the citrine crystal. And I guess this crystal is good for self-expression, creativity, wealth. Specifically, I learned this too, if you put the stone in the far left of your desk and you pair it with clear quartz, you amplify the chances of you manifesting the wealth. I totally didn't know that. That totally raised my vibe. I was like, God, I want to know more. And then my daughter was like, oh, do you think there's one of these stores that we can go to that we can look at them? I was like, oh, let's look it up. So I typed it into Google. Sure enough, Highlights. It's a store on Colfax. So we drive over there, we go in the store, and there's all these awesome crystals. There's people doing readings. There's stuff hanging down the wall. Super cool store. And then my daughter goes over this little corner over here and she finds this beautiful amethyst stone, which is perfect because it's her birthday. So I buy that and then we get it home and we're like, oh, let's start reading about this. So we start reading about that and it just becomes a super high vibe, like Brian and Sienna Learning Day. Here's another example. So I keep seeing Jeep Cherokees everywhere. I'm like, huh, maybe I'm meant to drive a Jeep Cherokee. So I call ahead, I make an appointment, and I'm gonna test drive a Jeep Cherokee. But when I get to the showroom, there's an SRT on the floor, and an SRT, just to sum it up, is $80,000 car. So the guy comes over, he's like, are you sure you wanna drive that one? And I said, heck yes, I wanna drive it. So after a little stuff, then we get into the car, I'm like, oh, can I take this onto the highway? And he said, no, I'm sorry. And I said, really? And he's like, yeah, people who buy these cars, they don't like to have miles on them. And I'm like, oh, okay, dang it. But just sitting there in the bolstered seats, I learned that word that day, it just felt so good. I mean, think about it. Aren't some of the best time in your life when you had a spontaneous discovery? Isn't that when you felt so alive? Like, think about when you go to the store and you find something you never tried and you're like, honey, look at this, Chipotle mustard. Never tried that before. Should we try it on tonight's salad? Yes, we should. Every time I go into the store, I'm always looking for something I've never tried because why? Because it's exciting and fun and it just lifts your vibe. A daily discovery could be as simple as walking in a new neighborhood, trying out a new coffee shop, or even like trying on boots. Like for me, I always wear sneakers. I was like, I need to up my style game. I'm gonna go check out some boots. So I went over to the mall, I went to the shoe department, Nordstrom's, and I had this super cool guy, Ralph, help me. And he started helping me into these boots, and they all had like these super rounded edges or the pointy edges. And I was like, hey Ralph, do you got any with those kind of like rectangular? And he's like, dude, those are like 7 years ago. And I was like, huh. I was like, are you calling my style old? And he's like, no, you just did. Now I own a new pair of boots with rounded edges that I'm slowly starting to get used to. That's the thing though too, is it doesn't always have to be something outside of you. It can be something in your own place. Like for example, this candle, right? Sand and fog. I know I like their stuff. I've never looked them up. Maybe they make flip-flops. Maybe they make bed sheets. I don't know. The candles smell really nice. I'm sure if they make other products, they're just as nice. Well, that's a daily discovery. You can look it up and tell me, and it could be your daily discovery. So give it a shot. Set aside 15 to 20 minutes per day for your daily discovery. Because life, it's like a big treasure chest, right? And every time you reach in it, you don't want to be like, Oh, I got a toothbrush again? No, you want to keep pulling stuff out like, wow, wow, wow. That's what you want to do, because having daily discoveries lifts your vibe, makes you feel more alive. This plant right here was a daily discovery. The more things you pull out, the more you start to live with this positive anticipation of like, what's next? Like, what daily discovery is gonna light me up again? That's the magic of having the daily discovery in your life. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go listen to some relaxing dog music, and as always, big, big love to you. We will see you in the next video.